For pitch hitting, and we're so happy you can be on the call. Mitch is also one of our consumer committee members. Go ahead, Mitch.
Okay. First of all, I just want to say that I am thrilled to be on the call, and I'm glad that you pulled my coattail. Let me talk a little bit about support groups. Um, the reason why I agreed to do this is because I feel that support groups are very important to those patients needing added support. Um, Support groups are helpful to people living with kidney disease. Uh, there's life-altering challenges that go along with that. Being a part of a support group can decrease depressed feelings and that sense of isolation, reassure patients that they are not alone. Our support group here got started by patients in the center that I dialyzed in, um, initially by one person. And she invited me to the support group meetings that she was holding at her house. And she wanted me to critique the meeting and tell her and the others who were there, I think it was 3 other people there, what they were doing wrong and how people were turned off by their support group. I initially gave them the advice that they were being too negative. Um, so after enlisting my help, we moved forward. I contacted a couple other people in the dialysis center that I knew that had been in the professional work atmosphere that could help with support group. So organizing a support group. Starting a support group can begin with the drive and desire of one person or many people. Those interested should seek out assistance from their clinical manager or social worker. The clinical manager or social worker will be helpful in identifying others who will be interested in being a part or of volunteering for the support group. 3 or 4 people should do. A patient-run support group may have a greater effect on those looking for support. The group can refer to clinical managers and social workers for guidance. The reason why I think our support group started off and had such a huge success starting is because we did go to our social worker and clinical manager, and they were able to inform the other clinical managers in the area what we were trying to do, and the social workers also had information that we could use to help us run the support group. 3 or 4 people would help you not only run the group, but be able to help you spread the word and find information. Being that everyone is a patient, those who are running the support group may not be able to make it to every meeting. That's the reason why you need more than one person doing it. Those who are interested in the support group, volunteering and helping out will give them a sense of purpose. And that's the reason why I added volunteering for the support group. Finding a place, having a place to meet on a regular basis is crucial to a support group. A regular place to meet will give all attending a feeling of familiarity, which in turn will help them feel more comfortable with their surroundings, and this will allow them to relax and open up. The 2 gentlemen that you see on the screen, on the right in the orange shirt is the president of our support group. The gentleman on the left is the treasurer. I serve as the vice president. And together we were able to find a place to meet, but we meet in a classroom at Bronson's Medical Center in Kalamazoo. It doesn't have to be that type of environment. If your clinical manager will allow you to meet in the dialysis center on a Sunday in their conference room, that's fine. If someone wants to open the doors to their home to let everyone meet there, that's fine. But it has to be, in my opinion, a setting where people can relax and feel comfortable, and they'll open up and just talk more and explain themselves and why they're there and the need for the support group. Setting guidelines for the support group. For a support group, there should be guidelines, rules and regulations, or bylaws in place to ensure that group members are always courteous, respectful of others during a group meeting. Group meetings should be a safe and accepting environment for those attending. Establishing a rule of confidentiality for what is shared in the support group is an essential rule, because we don't want people to feel like they can't come to the support group, share their feelings, and then, everyone in the center knows it. Everyone around town knows what they're feeling. That's a personal issue. I personally don't. I open up in the support group, but I don't tell everyone that I know, what's going on internally, because I feel like those are my feelings, my personal feelings. We actually had someone, when we first started, we didn't have a lot of rules and bylaws in place. So we learned as we went. As we gained momentum and grew, we learned how to actually operate our support group. And those out there that are going to try to start a support group, they'll learn as they go too. Support group goals. What does support group want to accomplish? A few examples: teaching self-advocacy, raising awareness, educating on issues relating to kidney disease, lending emotional support. Teaching self-advocacy, whoever comes into the support group meeting, we have literature on self-advocacy that we share with them. We talk about our own stories, something that they can relate to. Raising awareness, we're usually out in the community in the warmer months, and we're very active as far as being out storefront, going to other walks and runs and things that the community has organized. Just setting up a table, letting people know the need for organ donation, talk about the related illnesses to kidney disease, and letting them know that it is not a so-called death sentence. We do education. We get a lot of our education from dietitians and social workers, and even doctors. Doctors that in the nephrology center here in town volunteer to come into support group meetings and answer questions for us, and they're also on board with us, feeling that it's a good idea. Now, I'm saying this because this is the things that we're accomplishing. Doesn't necessarily mean that someone starting a support group in an individual center has to do these things. Starting a support group, a smaller support group in the center, is a way to gel as patients, become a secondary family, if you will, and an additional line of support for those who need it. Setting meeting agendas. With an agenda for each meeting, there's a guide in place to keep the meeting on course. Following the agenda will allow the meeting to adhere to time allowed for the meeting. Meeting topics are decided by the support group. Our meetings, I actually run, and so I have to make sure everything's on course. So we follow the agenda that is set. We have a 2-hour window for our support group meeting in whatever particular classroom they give us for that day. Again, if you are holding your meetings in a home, you can set whatever timeline you want. If you're holding a meeting in a dialysis center, the conference room, whatever time they allow you to have, but you need to plan out your meetings wisely so you won't step on anyone's toes, and you can continue to have your meetings in the same safe environment. Meeting topics. Basically, meeting topics are aligned with support group goals. Teaching self-advocacy, raising awareness, educating on issues related to kidney disease, etc. Also, we have an open forum where anyone can come to a meeting and raise a topic. We have in our support group 70 registered members, and then we have those who flow in and out. Some people come into support group meetings get the information that they need, we never see them again. And then there are those diehard members who come because they just love the environment and they like being around the people they know that are also living with kidney disease. In fact, this past meeting, we had a meeting Sunday. A woman came in. We hadn't seen her in like 3 months, but she said that particular day she just felt the need to be around others who totally get it. Everyone has a voice. In our support group meetings, we ensure that everyone in attendance has an opportunity to be heard. Who knows? A group member just might say the very thing that another group member needed to hear. I've also found that some people think that some feelings are acceptable and others are not. Feelings are neither right or wrong. All feelings are okay. It's human to feel a certain way about living with kidney disease. Keep in mind, those who have negative feelings are there for that very reason. We've had support group meetings where people actually broke down, began to cry because they're not understanding what's happening to them. And others who are a little, I guess, strong-willed, a little more strong-willed, would say to them, why are you crying? You know, I'm handling this, you can handle this. That is not the attitude we want someone to have when trying to support another person. So we let them all know, you know, whatever you need to do to get through this and to be able to get to the point where you're having a positive attitude and a positive outlook and pushing on to thrive with kidney disease, you need to do just that. So feelings are not neither right or wrong. In a support group, patients are surrounded by others who understand what it's really like to live with the life-changing experiences that kidney disease brings to mind, body, and spirit. The impact kidney disease has on jobs, family, and friends. A support group is a setting of peers that knows what it's really like to live with kidney disease. Any questions?
Yeah, we'd like to open it up for questions. If anybody has any questions for Mitchell about support groups.
This is Anna at the network. Mitchell, I have one question for you.
Okay.
I know that you guys have a very active social media presence.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that and how that helps your group?
Well, when we're out in the community and we do a lot of fundraising, we try to reach as many people as possible. For example, a restaurant that did actually donate for most of what's Grill, and they were advertising $10 all you can eat, and can you all hear me?
Oh.
Can you all hear me? Hello? Did I lose you all? Hello?
We're here. Go ahead.
Hello? Oh, okay. When we first started, we were outside. We were handing out flyers, going door to door, talking to people, trying to raise awareness, and then sometimes you just brain dead about some things and just hit us, hey, why don't we do social media? You know, each of us in here has a Facebook account, and some people are on Instagram, and we could reach many more way. And we had a Dine and Donate fundraiser at a restaurant, Mola Southwest Grill. They was offering for our fundraiser, it was $10 all you could eat. And we were trying to figure out the best way to get their word out. We put it on social media, and the first, I think, 150 people that came through the door, none of them had anything to do with kidney disease. Didn't know anyone living with kidney disease. It was just a good deal for them. So we decided to go in that direction from that point on. And the other reason why is that there's a lot of great information out there from all the organizations, whether it's the AKF, the NKF, or Network 11, or the Midwest Kidney Network, that we could share with other people. And so we put that out there, and that also raises awareness, and it gets people interested in our group. That's the reason why we chose to use social media.
Mitch, I have another question from one of our participants, and they have asked, what do you fundraise for specifically?
Our fundraising goes toward our area. We would like to help patients all over the state, but fortunately, we are a small group, and we just do the best we can. But we do service 18 dialysis facilities, and the funding goes towards transportation for patients to and from their dialysis treatments, and also doctor's appointments. We help them out with food if they run short, the medication if they need it. And just recently, we bought a gentleman a winter coat, because somehow he misplaced or lost his coat or whatever, didn't have the funds to get another one. So it just goes towards servicing patients.
That is fantastic. Wow. Another question is, what is one of the biggest successes you guys have had recently?
Well, not only do we have groups, do we have members of the groups that are a part of advocating on behalf of patients, but I think we measure our success in how we affect other people. This couple came into one of our support group meetings. Older couple. The guy worked for years, just retired, and they had planned to travel. And he had just been diagnosed. They were terrified. Thought this is it. This is the end of their lives. They can't travel. They can't do anything they want to do. And they came into the support group meeting and started talking to us. And one thing we do as a group is we all share our experiences with whoever comes in that's new. And once they saw a room full of people living with kidney disease, doing well with kidney disease, and we like to say thriving with kidney disease, they kind of relaxed a little bit. Their whole demeanor changed. And we view that as a successful day. Now, the biggest undertaking that we're doing, the National Kidney Foundation of Michigan has decided to discontinue the kidney walks in our area. There's a great deal of people, a lot of patients in our area are very disappointed in this. And so they're like, well, we have to drive to maybe Detroit or another area to attend the walk. So we decided to host the walk ourselves. And all the proceeds for the walk will stay home locally to continue to help patients in our area.
That's fantastic. I have another question for you, if you're willing to take a couple more.
Yep.
Do you guys have home dialysis patients that participate in your group?
Yes, we do. We have a patient that is doing CAPD. Then we have a home hemo patient. And patients come in all the time. New patients come in, and they're concerned about being in center. And so we'll set them aside with the home hemo patient or the patient that's doing CAPD and just let them talk to them to kind of give them answers, even answers that I may not have because I've never done home hemo. And that seemed to work out well. I think having people in our group that has that kidney disease and live with all modalities is a plus, is a feather in our cap.
I have a question. Do you do any outreach from your, forgive me if you said this, from your facility, from your support group to facilities? Do you need peer mentoring or just on-site visits?
Yes, we do. We have 6 certified peer mentors from we were certified through the National Kidney Foundation, and I happen to be one of them, and we go visit dialysis centers in our area, and we plan them with the area manager, and we label them or call them lobby days, and the centers also put that on their schedule so there won't be any confusion when we get there. And what they do is, we adhere to the center rules and regulations, be it a mask or gown or whatever, and we'll go in and sit next to patients and speak with them and talk to them and try to give them some insight into how to be compliant with dialysis, how to have longevity with dialysis, things of that nature.
So we got a couple more questions. I think we've kind of touched on this before, but somebody brought up a good point of how do you schedule meetings around dialysis schedules if people are Monday, Wednesday, Friday versus Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, for example?
All meetings are held on Sunday afternoons from 2 to 4 p.m. because we thought about that too. The first initial meetings were actually on Saturday. And we had Saturday's patients saying to us, hey, look, we want to come too. And so we had to change it to our schedule.
That's great. Another question here is, somebody mentioned years ago our support group planned and funded a couple picnics on Sundays. So many people meet each other. It was great. Do you do social activities? I think you mentioned that, but if you could talk about that a little more.
Yes, we do. We have actually 2 picnics a year. One is held in a neighboring city, Battle Creek, Michigan, and a gentleman that's a part of our support group. He was on the transplant call, I believe, Larry Bowman. He hosts the Battle Creek picnic. He titles it the Battle Creek Blowout. And that goes on annually in June, and then we'll have our picnic in September in Kalamazoo, and we title it the Birthday Bash, which is just an annual picnic we have celebrating the group's being around the group's birthday. But we also hold group meetings in parks. There are times where we take the group out to dinner, to restaurants, and hold group meetings there. And that's all part of the fundraising. If you want to raise funds, I suggest that you become a nonprofit organization. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And it did not take us that long. When we initially said, okay, we need to become a nonprofit, we went to a business advisor, got some advice, and he said, it's going to take about 18 months. It took us about 3 months. So it wasn't very long.
That is great. That is a lot of work and really sounds like
impressive.
Yeah, it's really impressive. Did anybody else? I don't see any more questions in the chat. If you do have questions, this is the time to ask. So I think that a couple of things. The peer mentoring section, since we weren't able to cover that today from Maggie, we will reschedule another session Sorry again for our technical difficulties today, but we will fix that and we will reschedule that section to talk specifically about our peer mentoring program. And if you have questions in the meantime, you can contact Renee Nelson, our Patient Services Director here at the network, and we can connect you with Mitch if that's okay with you, Mitch.
Absolutely.
Great, because we had a lot of people saying, we got a lot of comments like, I need to talk to him, and how do we get him to come to our facility? So I think people I'm glad people have had a really positive response.
Oh, so thank you for attending
Thank you so much.
today, and thank you, Mitch. We really appreciate this, and everybody have a great afternoon.
All right, you're very welcome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.